Yo, come watch this phenomenal vid of me creating this crazy dynamic Wolverine pose that I did the other day and show you practical ways how I fight against mental struggles like that little monster imposter syndrome that constantly creeps into my mind, trying to trash my creative journey as path as a concept artist. So no time to waste, let's get right into it. Guys, freaking welcome, I'm excited. I'm very excited for you to come here. I appreciate you. So what you're seeing me doing right now, what you're viewing, is me creating dynamic gesture lines. I'm laying it down for each pose, specifically here for Wolverine. And we're going to be focusing on one pose. But the reason why I do this first before just putting basic shapes of each of the major parts of the body, I like flow. I like rhythm. I'm making sure that these strokes are fluid and they capture Wolverine's movement, and they give a sense of a flow and rhythm for his pose. Because this is what I call the energetic backbone. This is what I start out with. Nothing wrong with the other ways, but for me, because I'm trying to master creating dynamic poses, whether it's for storyboards or for concept art, creating an energetic backbone guides the viewer's eye and injects momentum into every part of the drawing. So this is first for me. Once I do that, then I wrap the anatomical shapes and the other things around. But I need that energetic backbone first before I do that. I'm liking what I feel right now. I'm beginning to just put a few detail. I'm beginning to put a few facial details in this, and it's kind of coming out. Again, this is just a sketch study of learning more dynamic poses, how the body moves, twists and turns, and things like that. And I'm just using Wolverine for fun, and because he's freaking awesome. Why not? And yeah. Now I'm just getting the forearm, the basic shapes of the forearm. I began to wrap those anatomical shapes over those gesture lines. Okay, see, I'm working on the torso. And this is messy, right? This is good messy, at least for me. Which leads me to talk a little bit about the imposter syndrome, right? Believe me, by this time that you're seeing, that imposter syndrome will creep in, as I call it, the imposter monster. At this point in my stage of this drawing, it will say, yo, this is trash. This ain't looking good. This ain't looking right. And for a long time, especially in my college years, I used to always believe that lie. And things, in a way, as how you see me putting this foot, I'm erasing it. Sometimes it's just not looking right. Sometimes it is kind of looking trash. But the difference that you're seeing right now, where I've overcame imposter syndrome, the difference is that usually I would stop here and start a whole new other page. And the reason why I would start a whole new other page because I was second guessing myself. I was second guessing the ability that I had to just keep making marks. I'm continuing to make these simple shapes of this foot, though there it could look better in some ways. Again, this is just a study, but I'm not stopping. You notice I did not start another blank canvas page. this pose is looking really cool. I think so. I think you would agree. And so that's the first lesson that I had to learn, that self-doubt, it will stall your sketches. It will stall your work. It will keep you from progressing and growing. Every great piece starts out rough. Duh. Like, why do I keep second guessing myself? All right, so in this part, this is really cool. I really like how I'm creating this thigh. And what you just saw me do, I just created these natural organic curved lines around the thigh. And what that does for me is that gives me a sense of, quote unquote, an illusion of a three-dimensional form for his thigh. And that basic shape of that is kind of more like a tube, just like the tube that's drawn on the other side of his thigh with that arrow. But that's one of the things that I do there. And you'll see these, they're not necessarily construction lines, but they're more, like I said before, natural organic curves where I'm really trying to get a sense of the depth and the weight and the volume, again, three-dimensional form of certain shapes. Doing a little bit of curves versus straight. So you see me curving inside between both thighs and then kind of having that straight. That's just a little bit of a style. I'm now pretty satisfied with the overall silhouette shape of Wolverine. Now I'm just laying down a few of the marks of his anatomy, how it would twist and turn. Go. Always be unapologetic and demolish that like and subscribe button. But more important, put in the comments, what do you want to see from this channel? Because we're a channel that's always going to show and demonstrate how to create phenomenal dynamic poses in our studio. So be active and put it in the comment, because we won't know unless you do it. All right, back to vid. So number two about imposter syndrome, the monster became bigger when I received heavy criticism from my peers and mostly from my professional teachers when I was in college. And that criticism, I allowed it to crush my confidence and then also create its sidekick called perfectionism. The heavy criticisms made me believe that I had to be perfect in order to be respected. So I would overwork drawing those freaking lines, drawing the thing over and over and over and over and over again. Even if I completed it, I would still draw it again. I would still put it out again because it's like, no, it's not good enough. No, it's not good enough. No, it's not good enough. And that is such a mistake, to believe that I have to be perfect. The fact that I have this YouTube video and I'm showing this in front of you right now is proof that I've subdued that voice of the imposter syndrome monster that will at least show up and tell me, hey, you got to do this over again. So that solution for me was to have the mindset and the understanding that perfectionism is a lie. I embrace the rough sketches. I embrace the process because I understand that I'm building a strong foundation that will lead me to where I'm at today and where I'm trying to go tomorrow. Perfectionism has no power when progress takes priority. The priority is keep going, trust the process, keep learning, focus your attention on improving, not criticism. Now I'm just sitting here, which is, again, I'm just having fun at this point, obviously, right? And now I'm just laying down some of the marks, which is cool, right? What do those muscle shapes look like on this forearm as it's foreshortened in this perspective? It's very difficult. I'm kind of feeling it, not so much. I think I'm going to redo it, especially the fist. The fist, we'll see. If you've gotten this far and you're watching me right now, I appreciate you for sticking around. Hey, I'm just showing up for the first time, revealing to you my process as I'm creating dynamic pose. And this is just going to be something I believe that I should continue to show. How much fun it is for me to do this right now, especially when I couldn't draw a long time ago. Like, I remember as if it was yesterday. It was just super frustrated. But because I put in the work all the way up to this point, right? More work to be done, but I put in the work, and now I'm excited even to just do these little dynamic study poses. And I'm just getting better and better and better. Come on now. Come on now, baby. I can get a little crazy when I get excited. Look at me using this lasso tool to rearrange this fist. I just think that it look better in a different way. And I'm enlarging it because I like that style. That's that more of that anime style of anything that's foreshortened. It's really exaggerated, being really large in your face. I really like that. I think it gives a more of a dynamic feel versus what Western like comic book artists when they would do foreshorten. But it's cool. As you can see, this is coming together with all these little mistakes, and anything that I could see, I'm going in and I'm making a little bit of adjustments. And I don't always need to really impress anybody because I'm learning. I have to keep making mistakes in order to get to the point where I'm not necessarily making mistakes, to where it's actually turning out good. And all that is practice. I also had to understand this awesome saying by Thomas Edison. You know what he said about failure or mistakes or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to label it? He said, I quote, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work, end quote. You know what he meant by that? That meant that he was learning from all his failures and he was just using that knowledge to eventually find success. That's all we're doing right here. That's all you see me doing with this Wolverine piece, this dynamic piece that I'm just learning how to create more dynamic poses, more epic poses. And I don't always have to take everybody's criticism to heart. Period, point blank. Now I've readjusted this fist a few more times because in certain angles, when it comes to a fist in the camera, and I love drawing fists in the camera, right in your face for some reason. Just a certain way I need to feel that this fist is not a weak fist. This fist is strong. I've seen how other anime artists would do that, like Naruto in certain illustrations and scenes. And I'm not necessarily a fan how they would do that. A lot of times the wrists seemed a little bent, and that's not really how you would prepare yourself when you're in a fighting pose. Hey, I used to do taekwondo and jiu-jitsu, but regardless, you know, not coming for those artists. Those artists are actually very freaking awesome. But I think this fist right now, now that I'm pretty much done with it, looks freaking strong. And it has to look strong for Wolverine because that's his main part of his main weapon, right? Now I'm just laying down just a few anatomical marks, seeing if I really want that. I'm erasing it, kind of don't want it. Notice that I'm not really hesitating here. I'm just filling it out. I'll change the shape slightly a little bit to see if it gives a more dynamic feel or if it gives the twist or whatever that I'm looking for. So you see me doing this bicep again. I think this one is a little bit better than what I was doing. I think that this shape. Which leads me into the third thing about imposter syndrome. That fear of failure can force you into hesitation. Indecisive is a big thing for me. I'm vulnerable speaking about that openly. But indecision is a silent killer, guys. It's a silent killer, and it has killed a lot of things that I used to do growing up, college, a little after college. Even though I've redrawn some of the lines here, I'm not redrawing it over and over and over and over again where I'm not moving, I'm not progressing. Because that's what I used to do. I was scared to commit to some type of line. Whether it be I've drawn that line once or 3 times. Especially also when it came to finished details. I would always hesitate. Wearing that, showing that work would be embarrassing. Nah, can't be like that no more, right? Couldn't be like that no more. Here's what I learned about it. Hesitation breeds stagnation. And one of the things I had to learn about it to overcome hesitation is that, look, it's just about committing. What a sigh of relief just knowing that. Again, trusting in the process, trusting in the instinct, trusting in what I've learned and what I've studied, locking in those details, and just not second guessing myself, period. I'm moving so far now with this pose, working on the thigh, working on the other foot. You see me change the canvas just to see if I get a little look. Now I'm just working on the blade. I love this part. Just like the other one in the back. But this one I like. So difficult to draw Wolverine's blade foreshortened coming towards the camera, but it is fun. I'm not gonna lie, at this point, I almost forgot about his costume. Look at that. That's so cool. Doesn't that doesn't that feel strong? It's like he just jumped out of the air, right? He's going for the Sentinel or he's going for Magneto. Now I'm just working on the graphic design of his costume. And again, you see me, it's not just a straight line because his torso is twisted, all right? The base of the rib cage is slightly tilted away from the viewer or you and I's eye versus that waist is turning towards us. So it's got to be, I have to follow through with that consistency of design. It's got to be at least believable, right? Now, because of those lines that I showed of the volume of the thighs, that helps me when I'm creating graphic design of the muscles or, clothes wrapping around something, or in this case, the graphic design of his costume. It helps me wrap around that form. It helps me to curve those lines and to get it as believable or close to believable as possible. Don't ask me about these things coming off of his boots in his old costume. They're the most confusing thing I could ever draw, and that's as far as I'm going to go with that. Defining that back fist just a little bit more, giving it a little bit more of a shape language. I'm pretty pleased with this sketch. Now is time for me to focus on the colors. This is when things get really exciting because this is when things pop. And this is why imposter syndrome is something that I had to subdue. I had to subdue those voices because I would stop before getting to this point. This is almost kind of like my favorite part because it's like, dag, now I'm seeing the colors and everything come together like it's in the TV show. And it's one of the number one reasons why I became an artist, because um, I want to impact the viewers with vision and the things and the ideas that I have by illustration. And this is looking really cool. And how cool would it be to be more involved in TV animation, whether it be for TV shows like X-Men 97 or movies? I think this particular yellow that I chose and that particular blue works well. Look at how that pops. And this is just a sketch. Look at that. This is so cool. And here's the last thing I was saying about imposter syndrome, which is number 4 if you're counting. I used to not celebrate every step that has taken me to get to this point in my art career. Yes, I have a long way to go, at least for the vision that I have for myself and what I want to do. But if I look at this Wolverine versus how I drew maybe 3 years ago, 6 years ago, oh my gosh, I'll be really surprised. And the crazy part is I shouldn't be surprised because everything that I just talked about of winning and overcoming and subduing imposter syndrome will help you to get to this point. It helped me to get to this point. It helped me to even put a video out now, or should I say videos coming soon. I've never really shown myself full process from start to finish. It's in a little bit, it's still a little scary for me, but I don't have time to be scared. I don't have time to not show up and to bring value. So this is a win. The video itself is a win. Me creating this cool Wolverine sketch is a win. Okay? When I do this, when I have that mindset, I honor the past efforts instead of dismissing them. The imposter syndrome will always shrink and be subdued every time I acknowledge my own victories. I hope you're doing that while you're working on that TV show or on that movie. And if you're an artist, and if you're an aspiring artist growing up, or if you're in school watching this, and if you're actually learning techniques and you're seeing your growth, and you know that you're going to succeed in this business, in this marketplace, don't stop. Don't stop. Own those victories, just like I have been doing. Now I'm just about at the end, and I'm really playing around now. I like to just take a color. I don't always do this, but there's many ways to create shadows. For me, it's fun. So right now, I just created a new layer and just pick the color. Sometimes it's purple, purple bluish, and I will turn that layer to a multiply mode, and I will turn the opacity down. And I will, and this is on Procreate, I will have that layer be clip masked, as you can see right now, to the silhouette of the colors that I've already masked in on another layer. And you see that I'm just playing around with different colors, how that would look, and so on and so on. I'm telling you, these colors are looking nice. Highlights time. I'm doing something you would see from currently Marvel Rivals, League of Legends, those artists from Forchi and And NetEase, the studio who created Marvel Rivals for Marvel. This is also an old, in a way, style you see from impressionist artists. There are also classic phenomenal artists. J.C. Leyendecker, you see a lot of this in a way, how he colored. Obviously, I'm not on that level, but taking some things from classic artists to apply to your own work. And believe me, I love the artists who created the character designs on League of Legends and Arcane, and now, of course, the artist team at NetEase with Marvel Rivals. Guys, we're near the end. Now I'm just putting these highlights. And these highlights are more of our tinted colors. All that means is just color plus white, specifically for the highlights. So I will color pick the color, the base color, just like what you're seeing with the gloves. And I will add a little bit more white to it. And I'll create, I might will have a gradation from the base color almost close to white. Notice that I'm not necessarily making random highlight shapes. I'm really also envisioning how the highlight is wrapping around the muscle forms and around the forms itself, what those shapes would be. And if it's going to be, I guess, if I'm putting a white, like the actual white, that will represent that that's the most concentrated spot of the highlight from the light source. Obviously, I got to put the shimmering on the blades. Come on now. Ooh, baby. You do not want your last image. You do not want this to be the view when you're fighting Wolverine, because this would be the last thing you would see. You might as well just say, bye bye, I'm going to sleep. All right, guys. Final thoughts on imposter syndrome for me, and pretty much getting to the point where slaying that monster was the most vital thing for my art career and just for me as a person. That imposter syndrome is a ferocious beast that feeds on doubt, fear, and hesitation. It claws at your confidence. It gnaws at that creativity that's inside of you, and it keeps you from becoming the artist you are meant to be, that you want to be, that you envision. I had to face that head on with many other things. It didn't just try to paralyze me; it actually did paralyze me for a while, and it paralyzed me with self-doubt, chained, of course, with the layer of perfectionism. But I overcame that, as you're seeing with this video, wherever you are, whenever you see this video. I'm taking this win and I stand victorious, and also excited to even show you and to talk about it, being vulnerable as an introvert, of how I conquered that beast. Remember, it takes one bow stroke at a time, and it takes for you to just start. Just do it. Notice how I've made the even the base colors of the yellow and the blue. They're more on the darker side of the value. And I like doing that, even though I have those highlights, because the white color highlights that I'm putting, it really makes it pop. It really makes it pop. And if I haven't already said it, I'm just having freaking fun. I could do this all day with my own characters, personally, characters for Dynamic Funk Studios, any IP characters, any contracts that we get into in the future. I could do this all day and really hope that it comes out well and that people are excited about, whenever we do those things in the future. One of my favorite parts in doing these highlights is to duplicate the highlighted layer and adding some blur, maybe even some alpha or color dodge the modes. It just gives it a certain shimmering feel to it. Just me playing around. Bless you. Yeah, I'm feeling real pleased about this. I'm feeling real. I'm feeling real good about it. Now I'm really going crazy. Hey, this is pretty much it. Now I'm just playing with some marks that I used to do when I was training to be a comic book artist a long time ago. Now I've switched to more concept art. Remember, if you like this video, if you even got to this point, thank you. I appreciate you for getting all the way to the end. I know this video is a little bit long, but from now on, hopefully, especially if everybody says yes and they are liking it, we're going to be showing from start to finish, not so much pieces. Remember, put it in the comment underneath this video. Put it in the comment and let us know what you like, what you didn't like, and what you want to see more from us around the topic of creating dynamic action poses. I was thinking about some color hues that will go over the outline of Wolverine, but I was kind of like, that's not necessarily working for me right now. And I want to move on to the other poses. So I'm not necessarily doing it. I want to do more. I can't wait to show you guys more. This is so fun. This is so fun. All right, guys, that's a wrap. It is done. Let's go. Oh, and stay for the montage of the other Wolverine poses.
Nobody can stop me now.